Okay, it is time to get on my shamrocks. I'm going to string up my green festoon ribbon here. I got my leprechaun back here. I tell you, Psychic Bob is in the holiday mood. Now, y'all are going to say, Bob, looks like you're celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Well, the truth of the matter is Psychic Bob does not, I repeat, does not, capital N, celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade, because, you know, here in the U.S. it is a big holiday. People dress in green and drink green beer and run around. But I'm just going to be honest. This holiday for me is really not one that I like. And the reason why is that St. Patrick, in my opinion, is the only saint that I do not consider a saint. And you're going to say, Bob, how can you say that? Now, for my Catholic viewers here, please, no offense, but I got to just tell the history like it is. St. Patrick went into Ireland. Instead of just preaching about Christianity, which I wouldn't have minded, because, hey, Jesus is cool, he decided to take it a step further. And he actually asked the priests of his church to go and desecrate all the sacred pagan temples. He said, take them over. If the structures are solid, turn them into Catholic churches. And if they're not, you know, bury them, basically raise them to the ground and build Catholic churches. Now, I don't know about you, but, you know, honestly, I don't think that speaks well for religious tolerance. And I don't think we want that type of energy in our world. I'm all for people having their faith and believing whatever you want to believe. But when you cross the line to religious intolerance, then you get on Bob Hickman's bad side. So, now I want to talk about some of the symbols of St. Patrick's Day. First of all, I want to talk about the shamrock, okay? Now you guys know this shamrock. It's the big clover. I got a big green shamrock here, okay? Now, everybody says, oh, that's the symbol of the Trinity, right? St. Patrick is reportedly, supposedly taught about shamrock. So the three leaves are the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Well, I hate to tell you guys, but the truth is, the original meaning was the triple goddess, the maiden, the mother, and the crone. So the cycle of life is shown in the shamrock. Actually, Christian invention? No, pagan invention. True. There's pagan truth long before the Christians stole it. Sorry, that's just the history. Now, as for the color green, and as you see, I'm wearing green here. Catholic Church, if any of you know, in the Catholic Church, during what they call ordinary time, which is most of the year, they wear green. The priests wear green at Mass, and that's basically a Christian color. Well, green is actually the color of the ancient pagan priesthood. In Ireland, there were great rules about the color green. People had to wear green. It was very, very sacred. And there were specific rituals and processes for making the color green. Part of the people believe that the green was worn by the sacred fae, the fairy people. And as you see, the leprechauns always dress in green. So I do believe that green is the color of the fae. Green is also the color of the great goddess, the great Earth Mother. So, sorry to tell you, but the Catholics stole that from the pagans as well. So, anyways, there's another thing that I don't like. But anyways, so, the next thing also that bothers me about St. Patrick's Day is I really think about all the people who were killed in the name of the Catholic Church in those days. Now, I'm not saying St. Patrick went out and directly murdered people, but he did certainly influence others to engage in what I would call hostile behaviors. You know, can you imagine being with your pagan group, and let's say that you meet out in a field by a sacred oak tree, and can you imagine coming there one day and seeing it surrounded by the Catholic Church and having them raise your tree, kill the tree? In fact, that's what the church did in those days. If there were sacred worship sites that were outdoors, they would go and destroy the groves. Sorry, guys, I'm not trying to be hostile. I'm telling the truth like it is. So the sacred trees of the Druids, who were very prominent throughout the Celtic Isles, part of the mission of the church was to raise the trees. And they actually had gatherings where they would destroy sacred groves. And then they would start building a Catholic church. I tell you, you know, I live near a sacred tree. Some of you have seen my video on the bicentennial tree. And I always stop and I think, if some church came in and destroyed my tree, I would be heartbroken. I would be crushed. This past year when they got struck by lightning and almost died, I was devastated. I can't imagine what the pagans of that time felt like. I think it's terrible. I'm sorry, you know, Psychic Bob just cannot go with this religious intolerance. In this world, we've got to all learn to get along. We've got to love each other, live, and let live. And that includes religion. You know, people try to say, oh, there's only one church, there's only one way to be. Well, you know, I beg to differ, because as I look at the universe, there's multiple forms of life. There are multiple people, all different races. I personally think this says the divine God, goddess, however you want to call it, likes diversity. And I think diversity in religion is also important. We all think differently. We relate to the divine differently. And if we can remember that, and we can love our neighbor. I'm not trying to be anti-Catholic. I have a lot of Christian, a lot of Catholic friends. And, you know, I myself have spent a lot of time with them, and I enjoy many of the Catholic rituals. However, historically, we have to be honest. The Catholic Church did destroy, and very effectively, the pagans of Ireland and the Celtic Isles and many of their sacred traditions. So if you're going to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, that's okay, but I want you to remember those who lost their faith, their religion, and their sacred spaces. And let's make a personal vow to not practice that intolerance. I encourage all of you, whether you're pagan or Christian, to get together and to love each other. Don't attack each other. Don't try to destroy each other's religion. We've seen enough of that in history. Now let's all get along and love each other. Well, now that it's time for St. Patrick's Day, I'm going to have my own Pagan Pride Day and celebrate with green, honor the goddess and all the pagans who lost their lives at the hands of intolerance. So I hope you guys will come along and have a good one, and have a great, safe, and happy holiday. Thanks for being here.